the best part about it is when you go into a season and you have two guys in your bullpen that have closed before. When one gets in a slump, you just insert the other guy and you give the other guy to get a chance to get out of his slump. And so to me, I think there's reinforcements in this bullpen.
How you doing? Good to see you, Pap. It's been a minute. You got a good crew here today. We're going to be like serious and dive into these Red Sox storylines. We're going to all take turns and ask our questions, right? Because fans want these previews that we're doing. But before that, I mean, we got to get to the headliner and not bury the news. You think Aaron Judge is going to still have it in his head that he had a rough postseason? I see your little quote tweet that you did saying 0 chance Judge is going to take his 24 playoff struggles into 25 with a 210 average and 3 homers in the first month. Book it. And that was in response to yesterday. Derek Lewandowski, Pinstripe Territory host, go check it out, talking about Judge being just fine and clearing his head. Your thoughts, Pat?
Look, I mean, I love Derek. I think he's a good guy. But, like, here's the thing at the end of the day, all baseball players are mental, man. They all are. We're just built that way, and we press. I mean, I've pressed. We've all pressed in certain times, and I think that the pressing from what he showed in the playoffs is going to just continue. I mean, look, could he go out and just hit 15 and 320 and slug 800? Yes, he could do that, but I just don't think the possibility is there. I think he's going to be going up against much better pitching staffs in the AL East this year. And I honestly think the struggles continue. I think he's going to have to find something else that propels him. I know he's a regular season player, but the first month to me is going to be very interesting. And I just don't see it happening.
Hey, and I want everybody to know, Papelbon keeps it real. Last year, he put $1 million down on Twitter. He said it, that Junkie Ball Game, Giancarlo Stanton was going to hit under the 29 home runs, and he ended up 27. So while he's wearing a Nesson shirt, he's not just trolling. This guy knows baseball. He watches the AL East, just like he watches that haircut. Hey, you look sharp today, Pap. You really do.
Thank you, Crassy. Just got this done for my FT, my appearance today. All for you.
Yeah, well, we love our friends there.
Love that. I want to ask you about the AL East a little bit too, talking about Kratzy bringing it up. Toronto just got Scherzer. I thought they did a really good job of getting a couple guys in. Alonso, I think, is on the radar. Yes or no? We don't know. Where would you rank this AL East? So for me, I talked about it. I got a couple looks over here. I got Toronto as the third best team going into the season right now. I would love to hear what you think about the AL East and where Boston and the Yankees kind of, set up here and with the other 3 teams behind them.
I'll just add a caveat. Save your Red Sox stuff, though, because we'll do storylines. But rest of AL East, and then we'll dive into Boston.
Sure.
Yeah, so as you well know, the AL East, throughout the season, they tend to beat up on each other a lot. So when you play other divisions and when you play on the road, those are very key. So last year, the Red Sox didn't do that well at all. And I think that was one of their biggest struggles, was not beating up the teams they were supposed to beat up. But the Max Scherzer signing, for me, phenomenal. Played with Scherz, is a true leader. And I don't care how old this guy is. He's going to go out there. He's going to compete. And if he's healthy, he's going to give the Toronto Blue Jays 10-plus wins this year. You can go ahead and book that too. So, To me, it's a matter of getting somebody in to come and bolster that pitching rotation. And Max Scherzer is the perfect guy to do that. I think that was a great sign by the Toronto Blue Jays. But you're also going to be looking at, the Yankees, who have also bolstered up their starting rotation. So, to me, it's this year in the American League East is going to be all about pitching. Where in the past 2-3 years, it's been nothing about hitting. Judge hitting 60, Stanton hitting his, Devers hitting his, and Vladdy getting his. So to me, this year is going to be all about pitching. So I think the Red Sox realize that.
That's a good call, and that's a perfect way to start up storylines. There's more arm talent in the division. So let's hit the Red Sox 25 storyline. Quick guide on what we're going to talk about here. It's been a minute. few years since the Red Sox made the playoffs. Is this the year they crack it again? What about the ETA for their top 3 prospects? Meyer, Campbell, and Anthony. Used to be 4, but Teal got traded away for Crochet. And with that, we'll talk about Crochet and Walker Buehler, along with Lucas Giolito returning sometime in 2025. And then closing time, what are we thinking for the 9th inning? Kenley Jansen is gone. Liam Hendricks, Roldis Chapman, someone else, maybe some late move. We'll see. All right, Pap, let's start at the top. 3 years since the Red Sox made the postseason. Is this the year that they get back? And if yes, why? If no, why?
Well, I say yes, just strictly because of what they've been able to do this offseason. Okay. They had to give the fans meaning and give the fans something to come to the park and cheer for, because the last 3 years have been miserable. But to me, if they don't make the playoffs, you know what's going to hit the fan, and it's going to be turmoil in Boston. There's no question about it. But I do think they will make the playoffs this year. Do I think they will win the division? I'm not so sold on that yet. Give me a month or two, and then I could probably answer that better. But to me, you're gonna have possibly now I'm going on a limb and saying this, a 6-man rotation in Boston this year. So to me, not only does that help bolster your bullpen, but it also allows your starters like Tanner Houck, who's a young guy, Crochet, who's a young guy, to possibly pitch 160 innings, but those 160 innings are all A-plus innings. You know, you're not getting a beat-up Crochet every day or a beat-up Houck who is second full year. So to me, that's very, very key for them this year, is to keep that pitching staff and that pitching rotation healthy. And if they do, they will make the playoffs. And, you're going to have a little bit of mix-up in the lineup as well. And we'll talk about that later. But to me, you're going to have opening day. You're going to have a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, you said that because you're wearing your company man shirt. I get it. It's fine. I get where you're at. I get where you're at. You don't even have to respond to it, because I want to know what you think the ETA on the big 3 are with Campbell and Meyer and Roman Anthony. What do you think that ETA is? Because I think that's maybe what you're talking about with the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. So Christian Campbell's going to break camp and start at second base this year. That's my first big. My first big of the big 3. That's my first one coming out. I believe opening day roster, he will be starting at second base. I think you're going to have Duran in left field. You're going to have Story at shortstop. Devers batting third at third base. Casas fourth. Abreu in right field. Yoshida's going to DH, but my senses say that by the time the season's over, Yoshida won't even be with the Red Sox. Wong catching, Campbell playing second, batting 8th, and my MVP candidate, Fiella, playing center field.
That's incredible. Good for you. Now let's get back to the pitching here. I mean, they boosted it with Crochet, as we talk about Buehler, and now we got Giolito coming back here. Is this enough? I mean, or is this going to be the staff of old now getting after it for the Boston Red Sox?
Well, Fraze, I think that it's enough. But here's the thing: is Walker Buehler is going to have to come into Fenway and prove that he can pitch there and pitch to right field and be able to command his fastball down and away to right-handed hitters and be able to throw inside to left-handed hitters. But Giolito, for me, is the biggest key in this entire equation. If Giolito could come back to the form he was when he was with the White Sox, I believe this pitching rotation has a chance to be one of the best ones in the AL East, if not the big leagues.
Dang.
Wow.
Whoa. Love to hear it.
Trevor, you know a thing or two you want to comment on that before you get to your question?
I agree with that I agree with that fully with the starting pitching. I think they got tons of great high ceilings. It's just guys with injuries, right? And the bullpen's the same way. So we have no Kenley Jansen, Roldis Chapman, a new acquisition. We got Hendricks coming back and being healthy, hopefully. A lot of dudes with high ceilings. who's going to close for this game, who's going to or for this team, who's going to throw the back into the bullpen. And if it's not one of those two guys, is there a young buck in that bullpen we're not thinking about that you think,
Yes.
you're the expert on closing. You think there's a young guy who could do it?
So that's a great point, Trev. But for me right now, opening day closer is going to be Aroldis. You paid him to be your closer. He's going to be your closer. Liam's going to set up him. And then you've got my biggest sleeper is a guy named Zach Kelly. He's got a wipeout slider, throws 97, 98, but he can't command the baseball. I've talked to him 1,000 times when I go up there about how to command the baseball and not necessarily throw your two-seam so much to where it runs out of the zone. But anyway, and then you got Justin Slatton. So for me, the best part about it is when you go into a season and you have two guys in your bullpen that have closed before, when one gets in a slump, you just insert the other guy and you give the other guy to get a chance to get out of his slump. And so to me, I think there's reinforcements in this bullpen. Is it going to be a great bullpen? No, it's not going to be a great bullpen, but it's going to be good enough to help the six-man staff and the six-man rotation that I was telling you about earlier. Now, if the Red Sox are in it by, say, trade deadline, in my opinion, they're going to have to go out and get one or two more guys to bolster the bullpen because you know as well as I do, come playoff time, everybody needs bullpen help. So as of right now, that's the way I see it.
How do you sit there and you said, okay, Chapman's paid. Liam's a closer. How do you address that if you're Alex Cora, who I know has the hitters, has the players, he's a player's manager, he's good communication, but how do you address that? Like, hey, Liam, sorry, dog, you're not closing.
Well, Alex Cora, in my opinion, as a teammate when I played with him in Boston and now as a coach, has an uncanny ability to be able to communicate not only to teammates but his players as well. So they're going to go into this season and they're going to have set identified roles. And to me, when you go into a season and everybody on your team, especially in your bullpen, has set identified roles, it makes it easier to go out there to prepare for your role. It makes it easier to go out there and be successful. So there's no chance Alex Cora is not going to have every single player in that bullpen or on that staff or in the lineup knowing exactly what they do. Man, I'm telling you, this guy thinks like 3 days ahead of time. Like you could go on a flight to Seattle and by the third game, he's already got prepared who's going to play the third game of that series. So to me, communication is going to be key. But as you well know, Kratz, some guys may like it, some guys may not. If you don't, you know where to go. So to me, if you want to be a part of a winning equation and a winning team, you're going to have to be able to accept your role and go out there and produce. So I don't think Hendricks is, what I know of him and the many times that I've spoken to him, he's ready to come back and play, and he's ready to come back and be a big part of something. And if he's not the closer, I don't think he's going to be one of these guys that are going to pout and say, oh, damn, I should be closing. I think he's going to come, step right in, and who knows? If he comes in and starts on fire, he may take that job. And if Chapman's in, but that's the beauty of having two closers in your bullpen.
Hey, I want to relate it to a current situation we just learned more about, and now it's not current since they traded him away. What was your take on Ryan Presley having a fractured relationship with the Astros organization? It sounded like including their GM and manager when they acquired Josh Hader. Obviously, this is a different case. Presley was somewhat of even, you could call him close to legend status in the way that he was dominating the playoffs for them, helped them win World Series, but then Hader's the shiny new toy on the market. They probably told him he could close. So, you can relate it to what we're talking about now, but what do you think? Because we talked about this yesterday, and I was like, how do the Astros not do what they do? Like, what are they supposed to tell him? Like, hey, we're not going to pick him up, and we're just going to have one less elite arm on the club?
Yeah, I've been through that situation. I've had my job taken, and I've taken jobs of closers. I've had everyone from Bobby Jinks to your new Hall of Famer Billy Wagner come and pitch with me in the bullpen. And I think we all have egos. We all want to be the best, and you're dealing with some of the best. So to me, you got to be able to put that ego aside, and it's going to be the same type of situation with Hendricks and Chapman. So, that's a tough situation for him because he has done so much for the organization, and then it kind of seems like, oh, we're just going to throw you to the wolves now. But I think that's a part of him where he's got to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong.
I like it.
I honestly didn't even know. Yeah, sorry, I got one more. I didn't know that you played with Billy. Anything you got on?
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's a Hall of Famer. What do you got him? Because that was his second to last season, if I'm not wrong.
No, last.
Last.
Second to last season, the bigs. I thought you were saying chance to make the Hall of Fame.
No. No, what do you got? What do you got on Billy Wagner? Because I don't think we've had anybody on talking about him yet.
So Wags was great. So I've had everyone from Bobby Jinks to Eric Gagne to Billy Wagner all pitch before me and set me up, and then I've set up Melanson and other guys as my career ended. But the one thing that I loved about Billy is before we signed Billy called me, and I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't answer it. Then I get a text that says, "Hey, Pap, it's Billy. If you don't answer my phone call, I'm coming and I'm gonna come whoop your butt." So of course I answer the phone call the next time he calls, and he says to me, "Pap, listen, this is the deal. I came here to win a championship, and whatever I have to do to help us win, I'm gonna do. I'm not here to take a job. I'm here to pitch when I pitch." And I said the same thing back to him and Eric Gagne. And Eric Gagne got killed when he came to Boston. And I had to really kind of tell the fans to chill out on him. In fact, one day he had a full beer thrown at him by a fan. But anyway, at the end of the day, Billy Wagner to me taught me so much about who you are as a player. And man, like, his work ethic, wow, it was incredible. Even at his age. And so I loved playing with Billy.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I've been a big fan for years.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us were getting him in the Hall, so it's cool that he got in.
I forgot he was a Red Sox, let alone in Pap's era. Pap,
Yeah.
you're just connecting. You're connecting eras. Pap. I love
Renaissance
that about
man. Yeah,
it's a Kevin Bacon. What do you call that? 6 degrees of what is it called?
Yeah,
7 degrees Kevin Bacon.
Right.
6 degrees. That's the temperature that Scott eats his steaks at.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, wow. I'll take that as a compliment. Pap, good talking to you, man. Thanks for the time. We'll see you soon. All right.
All right, FC fam. Y'all be good. We'll see you this season.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.